did not know where I'm coming, and it's part of my way to say grace, to visit the places where I'm invited, and I'm really very impressed. Especially thank you for Madame Dylan Kudak, who is doing all this receiving work. And I have to start because the pictures are already running. It's an impression of the work, what I'm doing. It's not in synchronicity with my speech. I want to give deep thanks to all the people who are researching and who invest their life task into the research of global healing. Personally, I am connected with a special call of creating a model for peace. The main question is, how will humanity be able to survive and to build a non-violent society in cooperation with all beings? How can we create a social model now in this time which does not torture or suppress any beings anymore, but which is connected with the universal source of life in a state of cooperation? We started the Global Campus in education with a base station in Tamera, Portugal, where people can learn to build self-sustainable communities. We see this as an important part in the process of global healing. In Tamera, Portugal, we follow the call to build a healing biotope. Just as a preface, we all deal with the question, what is our contribution to the healing of the earth? And this leads to other core questions. What gives us the courage in these hard times to really believe in the healing of the earth? And in this sense, to find the wisdom and the knowledge as a background for existential changing life practice. If you just let yourself be touched by the situation of this planet, you will notice that this is not the normal habit. We live in a culture of a closed heart. There is a point which wants to close and wants to pull away the awareness for all the suffering which is taking place just in this moment. What happens in the world right now, wherever we look, we can see the apocalypse is increasing. From one side, it is an apocalypse of war. To survive, it becomes more and more urgent to notice the other side of the apocalypse. In a way, it is the call to discover and use a holistic piece of information. I want to quote from my book Pilgrimage, Grace, Pilgrimage for a Future Without War. The book describes my pilgrimage from Switzerland to Israel. I was walking alone, without any money, and my slogan was, a peace research village instead of a tank. And I walked half a year. I entered Israel in October, and there we walked with 50 people, and on the 9th of November we ended at the wall. So for us, the 9th of November is the so-called Global Grace Day, what we celebrate every year in many countries. It's a memory of the pain on this planet, but also of hope. But now I quote, at first we ought to let ourselves be touched by the reality of war. As long as we do not face this side of life and keep running away from it, we shall sooner or later notice that all we have been trying to do so far was to calm down our bad conscience. Something within us is agitated and unconsciously starts to look for solace too early. Spiritual methods do not help in the long run. Life itself and its truths are more powerful and demand full surrender. Sooner or later, life itself will illuminate all the meaningless areas of existence where we have not been willing to shed a light on ourselves. Only full recognition will lead us out of the fear. Little does it help to run away from the truth. When I want to wake up, something will force me to look at it. Not to be scared anymore, but to see, to recognize, to change. The psychic reality of war, which we do not want to see or acknowledge, both in the